What's up, guys? Welcome back to another Commander Deck Tech. This time around, we are doing Alesha, who smiles at death. This is a Mardu commander, and she cares about weak creatures. So she is 2 in a red. First strike, when Alesha, who smiles at death, attacks, you may pay 2. If you do, return target creature with power 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, tapped and attacking. So all of our creatures in the deck are 2 power or less, except for 2 of the creatures, which we'll get into those ones here. First, like always, guys, I am not going over the lands of this deck. The link will be in the top of the description box if you guys want to see the lands and the entire rest of the deck tech. And if you want to try it out, purchase the deck, play the deck yourself, feel free. Links are down below as always. Also, leave a comment down below what commander decks you might want to see, because I am going to be running out of decks here in a little bit. At least ones that I have already built, because I have so many commander decks already built. So we're going to go over all of those ones, but maybe I'll do a top 5 favorite commander decks or something like that, or top 5 favorite commander video as well. But let's jump into this, guys, kicking it off with the creatures. Okay, guys, so first creature in the deck, it is not a 2 power or less creature, but there's only 2 of them in here like this. So Tanrika, a Corwood veteran. When Tanrika attacks, untap another target creature you control. Until end of turn, it becomes a 4/4, gains indestructible. So most of the time, you're going to target Alesha because she is only a 3/2 first strike. So if we can make her 4/4 indestructible, chances are she'll stick around a little bit longer. And the other creature is Butcher Malakir. So Butcher Malakir as well is not power 2 or less, but when Butcher Malakir or another creature you control dies, each opponent sacrifices creature. Every other creature in our deck is 2 power or less, so they're going to be dying. So this kind of helps even the board a little bit. So let's get into these. We got Silumgar, Scavenger. It has Exploit, and whenever another creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on it. It gains haste until end of turn if it exploited that creature. Pitless Plunderer, you get a treasure every time one of your creatures dies. Vengeful Reaper, Flying Death Touch Haste. Spiteful Squad. It enters with 2 +1/+1 counters, and when it dies, put the +1/+1, put its counters on target creature you control. So most of the time, you're going to target your commander with that. Grenzo, Dungeon Warden. It enters with X +1/+1 counters. Pay 2, put the bottom card of your library in your graveyard. If it's a creature with power less than or equal to Grenzo's power, put it onto the battlefield. Now, like I said, all of our creatures are 2 power or less, okay? Grenzo comes with 2 power. So this is perfect. We don't even have to put +1/+1 counters on it if we don't want to. Aurelia, Exemplar of Justice. It has Mentor. There's only a handful of creatures that this can mentor in the deck, but it is a flyer. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, choose up to 1 target creature you control. Until end of turn, that creature gets +2/+0, gains trample if it's red, and gains vigilance if it's white. So you can give Aurelia vigilance and trample, or you can give your commander +2/+0 and trample, which is always fun. Dragon Egg, when it dies, you create a 2/2 red dragon creature token with flying. So abuse the shit out of this because it has Defender. So I always think this is funny when it comes in with Alesha tapped and attacking. It's not supposed to be able to attack. Shrieking Mog, when it enters the battlefield, when it comes into play, tap all other creatures. So generally, when this comes into play, you will have all your creatures tapped and attacking, or at least the important ones tapped and attacking. So this will tap down all your opponent's blockers so that they can't block you. Daxos, Blessed by the Sun. Drannith, Magistrate. your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hands. Shuts out graveyard decks. Zulaport Cutthroat, Soul Warden, Impulsive Pilferer. When it dies, you create a treasure token. It has Encore. You pay 3 and a red. Exile this card for each opponent. Create a token copy that attacks that opponent this turn if able. They gain haste, sacrifice them at the beginning of the end step. So then, if you have 3 opponents, you'll make 3 treasure tokens when these all die. Quintarius Field Historian. Not only is it an elephant cleric, but it cares about when cards leave your graveyard. And what does our commander do? It makes stuff leave the graveyard. So whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, create a 3/2 red and white spirit token. And this card also gives spirits +1/+0. So your spirits are going to be buff. Plundering Barbarian. When Plundering Barbarian in his battlefield, choose one, destroy target artifact, or create a treasure token. Most of the time I choose the treasure token. King Makar, the Gold Cursed. I love this card. This card is so underrated. Whenever King Makar, the Gold Cursed becomes untapped, you may exile target creature. If you do, put a colorless artifact token named Gold onto the battlefield. Sacrifice it, add 1 mana of any color. So, this King Makar and Tanrika is another great combo. You swing with both. You untap King Makar. Now you exile something and you get a gold token. And King Makar becomes indestructible 4/4. Alright, so next we have Torbrax, Hope's Demise. It enters the... Torbrax has lifelink as long as it has 5 or more +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Torbrax. If that creature was a cleric, you may draw a card. If you do, you lose 1 life. So, like I said, a lot of our creatures are small, so they're going to be dying. Burnished Heart, Jury, Master of the Review. I actually did a Commander deck tech on that deck. Look back through the list of Commander decks. You can go find that. Judith the Scourge Diva. Judge of Valor. So flying lifelink. When you cast your second spell each turn, look at the top 3 cards of your library, put 1 of them in your hand and the rest into your graveyard. So this helps get creatures into your graveyard and helps you get your land drops. Pawn of Ulamog. Now, Pawn of Ulamog is Pawn of Ulamog. Core Cartographer. Breathless Knight. This is another great card in here. When Breathless Knight or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, if that creature entered from a graveyard or you cast it from a graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on Breathless Knight. So a lot of our creatures come back from the graveyard. Fizura Seer, because we want to get our creatures into the graveyard to trigger our commander. Sadistic Hypnotist, another great card. Sacrifice creature, target player discards 2 cards from his or her hand. Play this ability only as a sorcery. Falconwrath Noble. Chittering Witch. Chittering Witch with multiple opponents. This card is great. Bringing it back, make a bunch of rats. Felidar Guardian. Next, we have 3 copies of Sevendorf. Now, if I had 7 copies of Sevendorf, I would play 7 copies of Sevendorf. But I only have 3 of them right now. I am still looking for 4 more. Leave a comment down below if you have some. I need 4 more. I'm going to make a Dwarf Tribal deck pretty soon. And then the last card is Rabbit Battery. Now, I am only playing this card for one reason. And I ain't even going to lie. Let's see if we can find him. Where'd he go? So, this is the only reason I'm playing Rabbit Battery. See this huge rabbit? Guys, so let's jump into the artifacts. We got Commander Spear, Soul Ring, Traveler's Amulet, Arcane Signet, and we have Swiftfoot Boots and Lightning Greaves because you don't want your Alesha getting blown up once he gets on the board. For enchantments, we're running Omen of the Dead, Bastion of Remembrance, because we do have a lot of creatures dying and they're in the battlefield. Revel in Riches. This card, underrated. Very, 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 very underrated card. When a creature an opponent controls dies, create a colorless treasure token, and at the beginning of your upkeep, if you have 10 or more treasure tokens, you win the game. So, definitely underrated card in the deck. For instance, we have Village Rites. Plum the Forbidden. As an additional cost to cast a spell, sacrifice one or more creatures. When you do, copy the spell for each creature sacrificed this way. Terminate. Rakdos Charm. Murder, wow. Thrill of Possibilities, Dark Ritual, and Bake into a Pie. Now, for sorceries, we got Victimize, Necrotic Hex, Diabolic Tutor, Brass's Bounty, Faithless Looting, In Garrick's Wake, Spark Harvest, Severed Strands, Deadly Tempest, Last One Standing, and Cathartic Reunion. So guys, that rounds up this deck. Like I said in the beginning, all the lands will be linked in the description box. You can check out the whole list down below. Check it out if you want to buy it, if you want to play it, if you want to check out some of the cards I got in here. That is all linked down below. So, I will see you guys in the next video. The next one should be an update on the Karametra deck for you guys. I know I mentioned it 1 or 2 videos ago. And yeah, it is coming, so it will be there for you guys to check out in the coming days. So I will see you guys in that video.